Habitual thinking. I want you to really think about this from what you've experienced so far in our conversation today. The way I say things is the repercussion, is the reflection of the way I think. Why practice habitual thinking? Because here's the thing. The reason I can say the things that I do, the reason I feel the ways that I feel, the reason I can communicate in the ways that I do is because of the way I choose to think. It's not I've been conditioned like this. It's not that it was a situation of my environment. I studied myself and debated, how do I want to think? What type of thinker do I want to be? Do I want to be a responsive person or a reactive person? Do I want to be a nice person or an evil human being? I've been there, I've been all of those things. What are the habits that I can get into in the way that I think that's going to shape my universe? Let's talk about this. Predictability. When we know what we're going to say or how we're going to act, you know how to gauge your emotions and apply them accordingly. This gives us the freedom to let certain emotions go and accept in more information. When you know how you're going to respond, you know what to get involved in and what not to get involved in. You know whether or not it's a good idea for you because you understand the way that you think. You've spent so much time with you. You know that that's a trigger, that's interesting, you like that, you don't like that. You also know if that's even worth your time. So many of us get involved in things that we don't even like because we think it's worth our time when in all actuality it's moving us backwards. But when you get into the habit of thinking, habitual thinking, in a healthy way, then you can look at these things and go, you know what, meatloaf does sound good tonight. That sounds, I need to up my proteins. Opposed to, we had meatloaf last night. You're changing the way you look at the information. You're shifting the way that information gets into your beautiful mind, right? Once it's in there, then you know how you're going to react to those things. And so that predictability, you can literally create situations or not get involved in situations that are going to mess with your health and your happiness. When you know how you're going to respond, when you know what those triggers are, when you know what you like, when you know what moves you forward, when you know how you're going to feel because of that, you can actually teach people what to expect. You can share that information with them. You can help them grow too. And you grow at the same time. I don't like that. Why not? Because honestly, I just don't agree with this, that, and the other. You don't have to force your opinions on them. But the point is that your mind is predictable. You know what I'm going to say. Think about this. You know me. You know what I'm going to say. What am I going to say right now? What am I going to say? I'm going to tell you to do what? Drink water. You know I'm going to lie. You know this. It's predictable. My thoughts are so obvious to you that everything I do is like, yep, that's Cody. Makes sense. In the same way. Now think about this. When you have that habitual thinking, think about this. Other people know how you're going to respond too. If you're in this place of uncontrolled, we'll say emotional desperation, when you don't have control of your thoughts, when you don't have control of your emotions, when you're not practicing things that are helping you feel solid and move forward in life, then you are an unpredictable person. You know that when you see my face, you can expect something of value, 100%. What do other people expect of you? What do you expect of yourself? What's predictable about you? Is it predictable that you're going to show up with the alcohol? Is it predictable that you're going to be the one of the life of the party? Are you the one that's predicted to bring all the joy? Are you the one that's predicted to be the downer? That's what you're practicing. Those habitual thoughts, the way we look at information, shapes our personality. And if you're under the influence or practice being under the influence, then alcohol is your personality. That's unpredictable. And sadly, what people expect from someone who's constantly under the influence is disconnect, discontent, anger, and all the other things in between. That's not necessarily something we want people to expect from us. It's not healthy. It's not healthy for you, and it's definitely not healthy for them. So we want to practice having healthier thoughts, that habitual thinking. That predictability is super important, but guess what it takes? It takes practice. You're doing great. Check it out. Comfort. When we're familiar with the emotion, we allow healthy thoughts. Healthy thoughts are the reason we make healthy decisions. The more comfortable you are, the more accurately you will interpret information. If you're here and you're hanging out with me and you're having a good time, then you're letting this information affect you in a healthy way. You're going, I love being here. This is great. Cody's cool, right? We're chilling. We're drinking water, right? I had a drinking date with my boy Cody. Yeah, we had a great time. It was awesome. We'd party. You're comfortable, right? Maybe your hair's up right now. Maybe it's not. Maybe you're in your robe. Maybe it's not. Who knows? The point is that you're comfortable. If you're uncomfortable, then that, my bad. Too much energy? Hopefully that fixed it. The point with all of that is when we're comfortable, we're not in a place of resistance. We're not sitting here trying to fight the feeling. We're not sitting here trying to justify our thoughts or how they feel or how we feel or how they feel or anything like that. We're comfortable. We're cool. This is why we do the same things. This is why we hang out with the same people. If that goes back to predictability, you know how they're going to react. You know what they're going to do, good, bad, or indifferent. Same with you. When you're comfortable, you act and respond in a certain way. I know studying people, I just give me 1 second, I can tell whether or not they're comfortable. By the speed that they respond, by their body language, the tone, within seconds I know if they're okay. This is why I'll ask, are you sure? I know that there's something going on. You are not comfortable enough to admit it, which is my responsibility to respect that, right? So when people are comfortable, this is why so many people will jump in and chat with me and immediately whoosh, cry. This is because I'm not judging you. I see you, I feel you, I understand, I get you, I'm here for you, right? I want you to be comfortable. Sometimes we've been so uncomfortable for so long that just not having that pressure on us is just so relieving. Goodness gracious, I finally get some time to be me. Even if that time is with alcohol sometimes, with that bad habit, doing that thing, with that toxic person, at least it's familiar to you, at least you're comfortable. This is why we want to design a life based in comfortability. That couch isn't as comfortable as you might think when you've got a sore throat. This is why we want to design a life around things that don't make us uncomfortable, or we don't allow ourselves to feel uncomfortable. So when that habitual thinking, when you're thinking of, is this moving me forward? Is this a healthy decision? Is this the best thing for me? Is this the best thing for us? Does this even make sense? The more comfortable you are, the happier you're going to be, period. And it all comes with practice. But you got to know, you got to work on you and figure out what makes you comfortable, what makes you uncomfortable. And that comes with experimentation. Especially as you start to have less alcohol, you got to do more so you know what you like and what you don't like. Moving forward. Familiarity. You know what you've trained yourself to do when you think. That puts you in a position of familiarity. The more familiar we are with our emotions, the more confident we become in awkward situations. And it removes the desire to drink. Familiarity. I know this place. I've been here before. Think about this. If you've seen my face, you understand who I am, you know my story, you know what it's all about, then we are in a place of familiarity. You know what to expect. Yes, that comes down to comfortability. Yes, you can predict these things, but familiarity. I'm familiar with this information. It doesn't make you uncomfortable. When you're familiar with your own thoughts, remember, when you keep thinking these things, this is also the same thinking that upsets you. I know what I'm thinking. I keep running the same thoughts. I'm thinking and repeat, and you can't even get out of that. We're not even trying. But you stay there because it's familiar. You stay there because you are good at processing those thoughts. Not getting over them, not getting through them. You're just good at dealing with those thoughts. That's familiar to you. Most people will always go back to familiarity. So when we're familiar with thinking healthy thoughts, that also breeds our comfortability. You're in a situation of going, I know how I'm going to feel if I stand over there. I know how I'm going to be if I'm next to that person. I know how I'm going to be by myself. I know how I'm going to be when I'm in the middle of whatever. The place of familiarity. When you recognize things, think of it like this. If you ever been driving home, which you have, you start to see the signs that mark where home is. I know that sign. I know that sign. I know that building. I'm getting closer to home. You're getting excited. Familiarity. Familiar with your own thoughts, familiar with your environment, familiar with healthy behavior. You actually start to recognize that in yourself, and you start to recognize that in other healthy people. Game recognize game. Healthy people recognize healthy people. Healthy people recognize healthy actions, and then we mimic those actions, right? So when you are good or get good at thinking those healthy thoughts, training yourself to continue thinking, is this moving me forward? Is this making me happy? Is this making me feel successful? Is this making me money? Is this good for me? Those healthy thoughts put you in a place of familiarity in your own world. This means that you're going to react less. You're going to respond more. You're going to give yourself the time. 7 seconds. We talked about this in the last module. We drinking. Let's move forward. Safety. You're able to examine a situation and determine if this is moving you forward or backwards. Objectively looking at information helps us feel safe. Where there's safety, there's comfortability and confidence. Another reason not to drink. Some people drink to feel safe. That's because they've removed the emotion. They've lowered the reason, the primal instinct. They've removed the reason they care. If you don't care, you must feel safe, right? If you don't care, then you must have processed the information, right? You drink enough alcohol, you don't feel the feeling, therefore the feeling doesn't exist. And because the feeling doesn't exist, it's okay to feel safe. Then why do people jump off the roof? They wouldn't do that if they were sober. They wouldn't do it. They wouldn't put themselves in risky situations. Safety is an illusion when you're drinking. Having healthy habitual thoughts, habitual thinking from a place of safety, thinking from a place of familiarity and comfort, predictability, that helps you feel safe. It's one thing to be safe, but it's another thing to feel safe. Safe in your own mind, safe in your own body, safe in your own environment, safe with your own decisions. A lot of people don't even trust themselves. So they drink so they don't act out on the thoughts they don't understand. Although that alcohol is actually contributing to the reason why they act out, why they don't understand themselves. I drink because I don't understand me, and I don't understand me because I drink. I don't like the person that I am when I'm not drinking, so I drink so I always am. Everything is a cycle when it comes to alcohol. When it comes to anything that's addictive, it's the solution for everything and the problem at the same time. This is why the only real solution is you and water. You and water. You and what? Water, dude. It's what it is. The healthy habit. Remember this. The healthier we think, the healthier our thoughts are, the better we feel, the less we think about alcohol or any other substance for that. It doesn't matter what your substance is. Even going back to that old person, watching that old movie, if that's your go-to, if that's your safety, the addiction is exactly the same. The programming, the process is exactly the same. That's the answer. It's not. It's the reason you need to find a solution. So from that place of safety, that's where that confidence comes from. When we are in a place of safety and comfortability, familiarity, predictability, when I say that all out loud, you go like, how do I do all that at the same time? You focus on one. You focus on just healthy habits, and all of those things are the results. We're not here to get individual results. They all show up at once. But you won't even recognize that you're in a place of safety until your safety is questioned. Normally, I'd be really uncomfortable here, but I feel really good. That's when you know you're making real progress. That's like even right now, you're sitting here like, normally I would never even do this, but I'm having a blast. Normally, I'd be doing this, but I feel really good being right here. Wow, I like this. I feel good, right? You're recognizing how you feel. Feeling safe, you're probably at home. Awesome. If not, dude, wherever you are in your own mind. Safety is a feeling. When we feel unsafe, we do unsafe things. We react in a different way. Healthy people can process and do process information in a strategic, analytical way and apply practicality. Is this going to be a good decision? regardless of the circumstances, whether it's you got to save someone or you got to save yourself, when you feel safe, you do strong things. Absolute truth. It's such a trip the way it works. Check this out. Simplicity. Once you get the hang of healthy habitual thinking, it becomes effortless. Once you learn how to remove your emotions and not drown them with alcohol, your life becomes more simplistic, far more simplistic, and you complicate less situations. 90% of the reason things are complicated is because we overcomplicate things. We practice overcomplication, overprocessing. ADHD, all these different things, medical conditions and social constructs and all this amazing thing that we don't even understand. And you look at your life and you go, does it really have to be this difficult? The answer is no. I want you to listen to what I'm about to say. There's been a lie that we've all been told. Okay? My entire business structure, when I'm working with teams, when I'm working with CEOs, when I'm working with entrepreneurs, when I'm working with alcoholics, it doesn't matter what it is. The biggest lie that we've ever been told, and it's been ingrained in our minds since day one, is it's not that simple. What do you mean it's not that simple? It's just not that simple. It's more complicated than that. It's more complicated than what? Than what you think it is. A plus B equals C? Yeah, but it's more complicated than that. No, it's not. That's a lie. They put us in this position from day one to make us overcomplicate things and rely on other things. Other things meaning not ourselves. We have to ask for help. We have to do this. It's so complicated. We overcomplicate these things. We make it more difficult for the sake of boredom. We're like, there's no way it's this. It's not as fun. Think about this. Why do you think people do double skips with a jump rope? Because doing it with one is just too easy. So from a human standpoint, with this insane mind of molecules of just expansive universe up here, we're going, it's just too easy. Let's make it more complicated. To the point where now when I'm in the gym and I'm doing these things, I'm going, it's just too easy. I want to make it more complicated because I want that feeling of accomplishment. I want to know that I did it. I know in my mind that I can do it, but I want to know that I did it. It's a different situation. When you look at it like that, we overcomplicate the most basic things. Be nice. But he said and she said and blah, 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 blah. What did I just say? Be nice. But this happened. What did I just say? Be nice. Why is it so hard to not say something? It's because we've practiced pointing out all the things we dislike. We've practiced regurgitating what makes us uncomfortable. We don't have to say anything. We feel like everything deserves a response. With habitual thinking, healthy habitual thinking, you know that your thoughts don't change a single thing. How you feel about the situation doesn't change the actuality. How you interpret the information doesn't change the thing. It's just water. It's just water. But it spilled on me. And? But I'm what now? And? What's the problem? I didn't like it. Why does that matter? And? Healthy habitual thinking helps you simplify everything. As a matter of fact, my program Mantis, Module 1 is called the Mantis Mindset. Mantis is happiness simplified. This makes me happy. This little thing makes me happy. It's now a toy. So many things we overcomplicate and think it needs to be so much more difficult. How can I be happy if I didn't struggle to get there? That's not possible. All happiness comes from torture, right? I have to do this thing for this amount of time and then happiness will show up. What are you talking about? Who got in our mind and told us that we have to do all these things in order to be happy? The reason I'm as successful as I am is because I allowed myself to be happy at my lowest. I looked at this stuff and go, I have absolutely nothing. But I also have everything. I know what I don't like. I know who I don't want to be. I know what my problems are. I know what I did that got me here. I learned. I know. Now I know what I want to do because I learned what I don't like. What you don't like is more important than what you do like, because we're not going to allow all the things we don't like to complicate what we love. Simplicity. Healthy thinking is simplistic thought. What is it without our emotion? It's just water, man. Moving forward, that was a good one. That was a good one. Thank you for that. Okay, check this out. We have one more section right here. This will be the end of section 2, but the beginning of section 3. So let's shrink real quick. This is about practice. I've said this 1,000 times, and I can't stress it enough. You look at what we've practiced so far. You look at what you're going to continue to practice.